We have Eric Schmitt. He is the Missouri Attorney General. He's also a candidate for the U.S. Senate, and he was one of the guys, along with Texas, that is asking the Supreme Court for a reinstatement of the remain in Mexico policy, because the Biden policy is killing us. Welcome to the program, Eric. How are you, sir?
Great to be back with you, Glenn. I'm doing great.
Good. How's your campaign going for Senate, by the way?
It's good. I think people are responding. They want a fighter right now to shake up Washington, coming from Missouri, and that's certainly been my record as Attorney General. We need reinforcements to save America. I know you talk about it every day, and that's my mission, so things are going well.
Okay, so as the Attorney General of Missouri, you are filing this motion with the Supreme Court. They accepted it. You argued in front of them yesterday. Explain what you're arguing for. Is this the same thing as the Title, what is it? I want to say Title IX, but it's not. 42 or?
42.
Is it, is it the same thing?
It's not.
Okay.
So I'll take a step back here. So last year, Missouri and Texas challenged Biden trying to cancel. He came into office on day one. He reflexively tried to undo all of President Trump's successes, including the border security that we had. And so there were a couple pieces in place, including, by the way, finishing his border wall. We've got a lawsuit on that as well. But on Remain in Mexico, President Trump came in and said, look, we're not going to do this catch and release business because people never show up for their court date, right? So Mexico will be the waiting room while you wait for your asylum hearing, okay? It's very effective. And by the way, it sent a signal to the cartels that their business model will be disrupted, because right now all they really need to do is get people across the border, they get paid.
Correct.
And so Remain in Mexico is a big part of that. So we filed suit last year. We actually got a restraining order, and then we got an injunction. We went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the injunction will remain. Now, we've been fighting with the Biden administration every month to try to get them to, reimplement, reinstate it. It's been a challenge, but the Supreme Court now heard it again, the argument on the merits. Now, previously, they said we were likely to prevail on the merits, so we're hopeful, but we'll see. So that's a battle on Remain in Mexico, which is effective.
So hang on just a second, because all of the reporting that is coming out is saying that it looks like they are not going to uphold the Remain in Mexico.
Well, we'll find out. It's hard to, basing it on the justices' questions is always kind of a tricky game.
Yes.
So we don't know, right? That's what kind of hangs in the balance. So far, we've been successful in kind of pushing them not to completely abandon it, right? So we were able to win before, but yesterday's a new ballgame, right? So the Supreme Court will ultimately weigh in. Title 42 is different. Title 42 accounts for about 50% of all the expulsions, okay? President Trump created this, said, look, we don't know where these people are coming from. They might have and probably do have communicable diseases. Therefore, you can turn them back based on that public health rationale. That's Title 42, okay? That had remained in place and still continued, even though it's a porous border, about 50% of the expulsions. If that goes away, Glenn, the estimates are of 18,000 people a day coming illegally that we know of. It would be right now we've seen waves and waves of illegal immigration. It would be an absolute tsunami if that happens, because we're entering a busy season anyway. There's no good time to do it. This is certainly a terrible time to do it. Biden knows it, wants to do it anyway. And we would see, Lieutenant Governor Patrick in Texas, I'll give him credit for citing the statistic. If you extrapolate, you get rid of Remain in Mexico, you get rid of Title 42, you don't have the border wall. If you extrapolate that over his 4 years, that could be 30 million people coming here illegally. That's the state of Texas. That's 5 Missouris. Okay, they are fundamentally trying to change this country through their, illegal immigration policy. So earlier this week, Glenn, we obtained a temporary restraining order preventing them from ending Title 42, but we're going to be back in court on May 13th. So the fight goes on. But those are Remain in Mexico, Title 42 are two big pieces of the Trump-era policies that we're working that Biden wants to dismantle.
How is this affecting? I know how it's affecting Texas. It is overwhelming Texas, especially any of these border towns. They're just, people are just being dumped off. And soon there will be in many of these towns more illegals than there are citizens. And, what do you do about it? So how is this affecting Missouri and the rest of the country?
Every state is a border state, Glenn, because I've been to the border twice. The problems, the criminal activity, the fentanyl, the drugs, the human trafficking, it doesn't just stop in El Paso. It doesn't just stop in McAllen. It ends up in Columbia, Missouri, in Joplin, Missouri, in Columbus, Ohio, in Denver, Colorado. Every state's a border state when you have this crisis that we see at the border. And so, we've taken on human trafficking. We see fentanyl now killing people in every community across this country. Overdose deaths now account for it's the highest cause of death now for 18 to 45-year-olds. And it is flooding across the border. A law enforcement agent told me last time I was down there, Glenn, that the economic value for the human smuggling alone is $100 million a week.
Oh, my gosh.
They're running the show. And this administration is willingly doing it. And my contention is that this is on purpose. They know a reckoning is coming in November. They want to pack the court. They want to add states to the union. They want to federalize our elections. They want to fundamentally change this country forever. And what they're doing at the border now is all part and parcel of that. And so we've got to do everything we can to stop it. But it's very obvious what they're doing. Elizabeth Warren just this past weekend said, well, now that they're over here, we ought to just grant amnesty. So they're saying the quiet part out loud, and it's just a mess. It's a disaster.
All right. Well, the Supreme Court, are they going to come out with this decision earlier than the summer, do you think?
No, I think they'll come down with the rest of their decisions here in a couple of months is likely when this will come down.
Well, if Title 42 goes down, that's almost too late then, isn't it?
Title 42 is a big one. And again, and here's what's the level of lawlessness, Glenn, I don't think people even appreciate sometimes. They were talking about ending Title 42 in mid-May. There were reports then that he was just instructing, they were instructing Border Patrol agents just to stop enforcing Title 42 altogether, even before mid-May, which is why we went in this week and said, hey, we need a temporary restraining order to prevent them from doing that before our hearing in mid-May. Right. So, again, they're playing for keeps. They got their pedal to metal. But, it's going to be up to states like Missouri and Texas to push back. We're doing it, and we're going to do everything we can to save this republic.
Thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate it. Eric Schmitt, he is the Missouri Attorney General that joined with the Attorney General of Texas to try to get our borders under control. Also running for U.S. Senate. You can find him at schmitt4senate.gov. Thanks so much, Eric. I appreciate it.
Take care, Glenn.
You bet.